Hello, everyone. It's Monday. Nice, turns out a nice day, actually. So anyway, tonight, what have we got tonight? But I want to ask you a question first and foremost. The way everybody's, when I said about close season, no more football shows, but everyone seems to be doing them. Uh, so just let me know if you want me to start doing them as well, because there's some terrible things being added here, in comments, not here, but on different podcasts, some stupid comments coming through, get rid of him, get rid of that, we want, get rid of all this, you know what I mean? And as I kept saying, these people, they want everyone. You can put a loads of players there and they want everyone, as though the custodians of our club is going to buy them. So if you want me to do any football, live, so you can interact and say what you like and what you don't want, just let me know. Okay. Just let me know, please. And I'll do them. If not, I won't bother. And on that note, TW, excuse me. Evening, Frank and chat. AT. And carries on by saying, shake. No, it's not shake, it's share. Like, share, hype. I like the hype. And subscribe, please. Thank you. Thank you, T. Good man. And the old mate from Tampa, the alligator man, Dennis Paparak to the T. Second that emotion, to quote Smokey Robinson. Comes out with little songs, doesn't he? Because he's in a band, you see. Is Dennis. Want to say to Franco and chatters, hope you're all well. Toscana, you and Bella said, shall we have an open forum on Friday? I said, yeah, that sounds a good idea. You never showed. We worried, in case you were ill. And Bella as well. But you asked for it, and we had one. It was good as well. It's really good. It's the poet. Evening, everyone. Evening, poet. Evening, mate. And the T says, yes, Frank. Thank you. Well, okay. Let's see who else says. Hey, Frank, and all the chatters says Phil. Hey, Phil. George Fitzgibbon, hiya, George. Good evening, Mr. Carlyle. Evening, Mr. Fitzgibbon. That's a fine Irish name, but I'll tell you where it comes from. It comes from the Norman invasion. I hope you know that. Because they never just came here. They went over to Ireland as well. And that's where the Fitzes come from. The name Fitz, anyone with Fitzgibbon, or Fitzmaurice, or Fitz anybody from the Normans. 1066. My old mate Lee Brady. Mr. Franco, hello, sir. MI6, yes. MI6, this fella, MI6. And the Woodmaster. Good evening, Frankie and chat. Hope you're all well. Thank you. Yes, I think everybody's well, Mr. Wood. And little Donna, lovely little Donna. Hello, lovely Frank and chat family. And that lovely. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, sweetheart. And Ali. Yeah, he's a moderator, look. Ali's the mod. Good evening. Hope everyone is okay. Thank you, Ali. Thank you, friend. And congratulations on being a moderator. Thank you. I'm always up for a natter about footy, Frank. How did you get on in the Aussie Saturday, says the poet. Well, I'll let you know when I've got a few people on. And I'll let you know how I got on and what's going to happen. Thank you for asking. And thanks for saying about the footy. And George says, George Fitzgibbon, that is. Nice one, sir. I never knew that. Thanks. Never knew what? Do you mean about Lee Brady being a... Do you mean Lee being a, you know what? MI6? Got his eye on everyone. Anyway, Ali says, Frank, we're in talks with Nunes. He can come back as a free transfer. Love to, yeah. That's it's good news because I've always said that him and Diaz, when they went, you know, the season that's just finished, when they went, our pressing had gone. It's all gone. So, yeah, I'll be glad to see him back. And all you footy fans, I was watching something today and it's absolutely brilliant. And it's called, you get it on YouTube, it's The Revenge of Liverpool. It's really good. Then I was watching another one, I forget the bloody title. And it's 100 things that was 1 in a million or something like that. And it's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, you know, about Liverpool. And it even goes back to when Pepe Reina was in goal. Remember the beach ball incident? When he's catching the ball at the thing. Went in the opposite corner. Remember that? Brilliant, though. And also Ron Flowers, when he was in goal. Not for us. And Stan Collymore hit a shot, and it was a trickle shot. And he just went down to pick it up, and it hit a sod or something, bounced over his shoulder, went in. And even Collymore was embarrassed. You know, there's things like that, and that 1 in a million things that happened, you know, with Liverpool. So it's against as well. But the revenge one is absolutely brilliant. And I mean, brilliant. Because it freezes a picture, and I didn't even see this. And it was Mane and this German Bayern Munich. And, you know, the German took the ball off him, and Mane's just laughing. You know, the way he always just smiled and, you know, didn't want to get into any sort of trouble. And you should see the face on this German, you know, really glaring. You know what, Sadio? Then the revenge comes. Bayern Munich. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, there for you football fans, Liverpool fans especially. And Lisa is, what do you think about all this Nunes rumours on a free? I'm thinking, why not? On cheaper wages and cover for Ekatike. And yeah, absolutely. See how he would go. Get under Areola. Yeah, absolutely. And he's free as well. And he wants to come back to Liverpool. And George, oh, right. I was born in Kirkdale, Hector Street. Kirkdale. You know why Kirkdale's named Kirkdale, don't you, George? Because You know, I'm going back to medieval times. Well, even before there, you know, the Middle Ages. When Liverpool became Liverpool in 1207, there was a little church in a dale, a little church, and they were known as kirks then, churches. Anglo-Saxon name, you see, language, and hence Kirk Dale, the church in a little dale. So that's how Kirkdale got its name historically. And Ali, well, Franco, I only have to take care of spammers and ones who speak bad on chat. Yes. Yes. And the Woodmaster says, if you want a bit of football history, my dad built the changing rooms at Tranmere's ground. John Aldridge pays out of his own pockets. Go away, did he? That's great, that, isn't it? When someone, you know, puts something back into the community, and Aldo did that. That's wonderful, that. Really is. Really is. So let me move this thing. Oh. Hi, Frank. Nice to see you. Says the Polo. Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Nice to see you too. And Steve Mulholland. I'll tell you about what happened at when I seen this neurosurgeon. Imagine our attack with Captain Chaos, Rio, and Chiesa, says my old mate Steve Mulholland. Young Rio. At least he'll get games, won't he, Rio? Rather than under the Dutch cheese fella. Natasha. Hiya, Natasha. Hope you're well, sweetheart. Nunes reminds me of a yes. And he is. He is. See, what you've got the likes of Nunes who, you know, we actually called him Captain Chaos, didn't we? We called him Captain Chaos. And that's what he did. And I always remember, like when Diaz was playing for us, people were moaning. You know, some fans, I don't know what kind of fans they were, moaning about Diaz. And I said, look at Diaz. I said, the ball goes out to him, it always gets lobbed to him or passed out to him when the our defence was under pressure. And he took the ball and he was away. And our defence then was relieved of the pressure. Always happened every game. And no one's seen that. I think I'm the only one who's seen it. And Natasha says, Dovecot, Liverpool, do you remember? Yeah. Huyton. Dovecot. Part of Huyton. That's where the doves were. Doves flying around. Doves of peace. Dovecot. Dove Cottage. And Ali, after Nunes and Diaz left, we lost the spears and agility in our team. Nunes will bring a lot of pace and aggression back to Anfield. Absolutely. Absolutely. And Steve says, sorry, I should have used caps. Yes, so you should be. I can say that to you, you say, Steve. And Toscana to the T. Ciao, hope all is well with you. Yeah, see, not about me. And George says, Fitzgibbon, that is. Absolutely fantastic knowledge, Mr. Carlyle. Please call me Frank. Please, please, George. Well, I'll have to start calling you Mr. Fitzgibbon. And we all know the score, don't we? I don't know where I am, you know. Just see the thing there. Just see the thing there. Look at this. Look at this. Francine said, listen to that. You've got to get that suit done. I said, yeah, I will. I'll definitely get it done. And Cedric, he actually turned down the marriage proposal from Betty Davis and Hedy Lamarr. Beautiful Hedy Lamarr. Genius was Hedy Lamarr, you know. She was a genius. This is how you're using your mobile phones. This is how the likes of Iran is firing missiles, believe it or not. I'm not just saying Iran, I'm saying everybody who's got these ballistic missiles. With Hedy Lamarr's knowledge, she gave everything, that lady. She was a genius. She was actually, she was Austrian. And then she just went over to escape the Nazis and went to Hollywood, as you know. Cedric knows anyway. Big up legends, Cedric. Chat, bring back the ghost. Bring back chaos. That's Nunes, yes. Yes, thank you. We all say that. And the poet says, I'd love to see Darwin back. See, you know, there's people saying that, you know, these are the comments I'm reading, not yours. On others, no, we don't want him, all this, you know what I mean? What games did they go to? You know, what kind of logic did they have watching games? I'd love to see Darwin back. He might not be the most clinical finisher, but he had a big heart and was a handful for any defence. Yeah, just have a look at it. I don't know whether it's the event. No, it's not the. Just have a look on YouTube. All the goals he scored, but I think all the misses. You know the 1,000,000 things. The YouTube talk about Liverpool, and they throw him on. But I've always said he's always in the right place at the right time. Who else does that? It was only Jota and poor Diogo, you know. He was always seemed to be in the right place at the right time when he was playing. So sad. But Darwin was. This is what I was laughing at before. Little Donny. Frank, it's a caveman live in Everton. Yeah, they're still there. It's down by the pier head now. They're on the dock. I don't think we had any caves, to be honest. But there was tribes that lived here, you know, a tribe called the Brigantes. And the Brigantes was one of the biggest tribes, Asian tribes in England. And they actually spread from, say, like the Midlands. And they went right up to Scotland, the lowlands of Scotland. They were the Brigantes. And they were led by a queen, far better than Boadicea, far better than her, and their name was Queen Carter Mandua. And anyway, they spread out, and they were actually here in Liverpool. The Romans were here in Liverpool as well, believe it or not. And they went to Everton. He actually went up to Everton, based a camp there to look over towards Chester. And they actually built a tower to use as a semaphore, the Romans, over to Chester. Here. So yes. When they were building Alcourse prison, they were finding artifacts of the Romans, and I went and seen a few. That's where I was lecturing about them. I was asked to go up. Incredible what they found. I thought they were going to be in a museum or something, but nothing's happened. Big up, Cedric. Says the tea. Right, I'm going to tell you about what happened to me. I'm going to tell you what happened to me on Saturday morning. I knew football had come on tonight, But as I said, if you want me to do football, that's no problem. I will do it. Because I think it's just like the Nunes thing. You're getting others. I can't believe comments coming through on other podcasts saying, we don't know. What do we want him for? All this. Missed loads of chances. Well, to them, I'd say just go and watch all the goals scored by Darwin Nunes, and it'll surprise you. It will surprise you, the goals he scored. These are the divvies who just say, we don't want him. Anyway, what happened to me, I'll tell you what happened. I went up and seen this neurosurgeon, great fella. Now, I was told going back 30 odd years ago that if I went under an operation, it was 80% that I'd come out a paraplegic. Like he just said, Superman, he said at the time, when Superman had that awful accident, when he broke his neck. And he just became a paraplegic, speaking through here. What he was saying, I'm going back to this neurosurgeon, not on Saturday, going back then. And he said, what we'll have to do, he said, we can't go through the back. He said, we have to go through the front. And once we go through, it's through your voice box. He said, and if everything goes wrong, you'll lose your voice. You'll lose this, you'll lose that, and ends up like Superman, Christopher Reeve. 80%. Now, when I went up on Saturday, obviously that's why I never got it done. And I brought Francine up with me just in case I missed out on something, because, it was a very important meeting I was having with this wonderful man, surgeon. And he was so reassuring to me. He really was. So what he said, it's a dangerous operation, obviously. It's a dangerous operation, very dangerous. And he went through the pros and the cons of it. And he said, what we'll do, he told me about the operation. He was looking at he was looking at my x-ray, that MRI thing. And it was frightening, really, seeing your spine and seeing your spinal cord. And you see two vertebrae right into my spinal cord. Hence what I'm like now. Because going back 30 odd years ago, when the neurosurgeon says, when I refused the operation. He said, well, when you get older, you progressively go worse on your left-hand side. And this is what I'm like now, my left-hand side. But he gave me a few exercises to do, to see how I am. Only with upper body, like my arms, for example, my hands. And he said, it's still there for you, you're good, you're good. And he said, what we'll do, he said, if you want the operation, he said, just bear me out on this. I said, okay. He said, we'll go through your voice box. He said, but we moved that over. He said, then we'll get to the vertebrae. And he was pointing them out. He said, we'll get to them and we'll push them out. And he drew this little thing, just a bit big, just a round circle, just a bit bigger than a 5p piece, say. And he said, this will go in between your vertebrae. He said, so it'll stop anything from going back into your cord. He said, that'll stop it. He said, it's similar to a pacemaker that they put in hearts. He said, so that'll be, and he mentioned, like, I forget what kind of metal that went from. We have Francine knows. And he said, we'll put that in. And I said, oh, okay. But he was very reassuring and he was encouraging me. He really was. And he said, I'm not saying that it'll be great, be giving you, so you'll be walking and running and everything. He said, because they have to say that, I do know that. They can't just guarantee. But the encouragement was unbelievable. So I'm having a pre-op. I've got to fill in all this questionnaire and thing, and send that in. Then I'll start the pre-op because he wants to operate on me in August. And he said, you'll have no voice for 6 weeks. So that's good news for you, lot. That'll be good news for you, lot. And this is the problem I've got, whether to get me tooth done. You know what I mean? Because if they put all these things, when you go under an operation, as I'm going under, they might knock the bloody tooth out, if you know what I mean. So I'm dodgy now but I will get it done. I'll sod it, get it redone as well. So I will get my tooth done. So I'm going under the operation and just see how I am. For 6 weeks, I won't be able to talk. He said, you'll whisper. He said, but your voice will come back after 6 weeks. I have to stay in hospital for that 5-6 days, to recover. And he said about, but he said right away, while you're in hospital, you'll have physiotherapists working on you. So I'm going under it in August. And that's the thing. But as I said, he was very encouraging and I've got nothing to lose, I'm being honest. The way I am now, I've got nothing to lose. Even if it doesn't work. It's the way it is. Right, so that's that. And Ali says, since day one, I said that Nunes missed a lot because he created a lot of chances with his movements and agility. Then many fans hated him because he missed many. But when you create a lot, you miss many, of course. Ali, just get on YouTube and see all his goals and get onto Revenge and also 1 in a Million, 3 little docs. 1 in a Million, you see Darwin honestly. And in one match, he hit the bar and the post and missed a penalty, and every one of them hit the bar and the post, about five chances. And the commentator, he's hit the bar again. It's funny. And the Woodmaster, Nunes and Diaz at times were our best attackers, and more often than not, especially Nunes was our best defender. That's it. So's Diaz. That's what I mean about, just getting the ball out to them. Once they went, the pressers went. And that's where they made the big mistake. And, especially there, the Dutch cheese fella and that Hughes fella, don't like him at all. I seen the interview with Areola, seen that. And I also seen him at the AXA today. I wasn't up there, but I seen him on the telly. And he's good. But he was so, and he greeted everybody, even the lady in the canteen. He was chatting to her, and even right in to see the cooks. He's shaking hands with them, and he was really nice. And he couldn't wait to get to Anfield. He drove down to Anfield, having a look around there. Albeit he's been there as an opposing manager for Bournemouth, but he absolutely loved it. It was great. I was made up. Totally different. He embraced the fans. He embraces the fans. And he realised he never realised. He knew how big Liverpool Football Club is globally. Remember when I said about the Northern Irish fella? After 4 or 5 months in the job, he was being interviewed, and he said, I didn't realise how big Liverpool was. This fella knows. And how important the fans are. And he wants to celebrate with us. Winning a trophy. Celebrate together, he said. Did the other fella say that? No. He said nothing about us. He only had to go at him, him. The Dutch cheese. Phony. And Toscana. Sorry about Friday. My son wasn't too. He gets bouts of. Okay. I stays with him in his. But that's lovely. That's lovely. Now. Toscana. Honestly, you know the score with me. You know the score with me. And the Woods. I think it was the MI6 agents at Liverpool were the ones putting out the bad press about Nunes. I loved the lad. He had the spark of a scout. He did. And even the Scousers loved him. The chance. Even when he's unknown. Even when he missed. When he hit the bar, Nunes. Loved it. That's why he wants to come back. I agree with you there. Totally agree. That's a cracker. And Bella says, I don't say it. And George Fitz says, respect for my elders. Is that me? The elder? Am I an elder? Yeah, I am. Must be. Good great. I always go past something. And Phil says Nunes gave his 100% absolute every game. Every game. And who got rid of him? The sloop man. He got rid of him. Him and Hughes. Looks like Hughes is going. I hope so. I hope so. And he was up, wasn't he? I've always called him the Invisible Man, as you know. And when he was never going to matches because he lives in Bournemouth, you see. He still lives in Bournemouth, and we employ him. And the sad thing about it all is that when there's a camera there, he must have said to him, you better get up to Anfield because Iriola's going. It's going to be filmed. And he was there with his quiff. You know, his nice quiff. The quiff man. The Invisible Man. I didn't like that. The sooner he goes, the better for me. And the Woods says, Nunes gave us all. He did miss a few, but who doesn't? Absolutely. He was a scapegoat. Some Liverpool fans, not saying all, but some of them, they always have a scapegoat. Nunes was one. McAllister's one. And so was the Scouse lad, Jones. He's a scapegoat. Sell him, he's crap and all that. No, he isn't crap. He isn't crap. And I've always been brought up with a Scouser in the team. Since I've been watching Liverpool Football Club as a 6-year-old and going everywhere as I got older, we've always had a Scouser in the team. And people don't realise who live outside Liverpool, no disrespect to their people on here, but they don't realise that Liverpool is a local club. It's a local club. And we have to have a Scouser in. And Jones is that Scouser. That's in my opinion. Frank, have you tried chewing gum in the gap? It will fill in a treat. Thing is, you see, I was mentioning that the other night. One of my pet hates, honestly, is people chewing gum. And if I was about God, yeah. But thanks for that. Thanks for that. And Phil says, at least you felt something might happen when he was there. Yeah, spot on. Spot on with Darwin. And Paulo says, Iraola will get Nunes motivated. Absolutely. Yes. Good shout. Good shout, that, Paulo. And Zona says, laughs and says, cavemen thought so. And Zona says, tell us one day about Asian Everton, Frank, please. Yeah. Thing is, you see, Everton is the most historical of the whole of Liverpool. The Everton area. That's true, that, Donna. Incredible things went on in Everton. Incredible. So, yeah, I will, Donna. Promise you that. And Bella says, Toscana, hope your son feeling a lot better. Nothing worse than... I know. I had it in my chest. I thought I was dying with a heart attack. It was just wind. It was horrible. Couldn't swallow anything. Couldn't drink water. Couldn't do anything. It was all around my chest, all the wind. So they brought me a bike. You know, it's have flat tyres. And they just said, yeah, pump them up. So I blew them up. Then all the wind came out of me. No, but it did have winds around my chest. That was just something stupid. That's it. And Lisa is, do you know much about the Oglet village, Frank? Might have permission to detect around the Oglet and surrounding fields of Speke Airport, but not until next year, the owner said. Shame that the village is no more. There were cottages in the area as well, which got demolished this year for nothing, as nothing has happened on the site since, and it's a shame. You see, you're going back to the Middle Ages with Oglet. That's where you're going back. I'm trying to think of somewhere where you really need to go with your little detector. A little detector. And do you know where it is? It's around Chester. Lee, it's around Chester, mate. Because there are things buried, they must be buried there. There must be. Same as in Everton, you know. But with all the, the buildings around Everton, but there might be somewhere where you can actually go. And that's where they made camp, the Romans. And up in what we call today Kirby, when they were building Old Course, this is where they were finding loads of things. As I said, I've seen like pots and things, you know. Never seen any coins though. And Bella, Toscana to Bella, thank you. He's better today. I'm waiting for an appointment for him to see the gastro specialist. Oh, that's a shame about your lads, honestly, Tos. Honestly. And George says, God bless you, Mr. Carlyle. Thank you. Thank you. And Donna says, I don't know what that means. Is that an abbreviation of something, Donna? And Toscana, it would be great to have Darwin back. His enthusiasm was second. Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I meant to send a kiss. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, Donna. A kiss back, sweetheart. A big one. Big smacker. Yeah, he did, Cedric. He did say that. Don't need coffee after coffee. But yes. Good. That was great, that wasn't he? What he said as well. Oh, where am I again? This is mad. This it just goes, you know. Steve says, I watched the Damned United again last night, and I forgot Stephen Graham played the part of Billy Bremner. Big Red is Stephen Graham, you know, but don't want to get into it, to be honest. Don't want to get into what Stephen did. But the rag we don't read, which is being banned. Fantastic news, Franco, that you're going to be, oh, you're getting your operation. I've been waiting for 4 years for this. Thank you, Bella. It's amazing what they can do now. Yes. And you have your life back to do things that you really want to do. Yes, go to Italy, because I couldn't go, could I? Francine loved it, especially my granddaughter. Especially my granddaughter. She wants to buy a home over there, Francine. Been looking at homes. And George says, hope all goes well, Mr. Carlyle, in August for your procedure. Thank you. I really appreciate that. George, thank you so much, fella. Really. And PP says, it's incredible how much the mood has already changed for the better since Adam left. I can't wait to see how much Areola will improve the players next season. That I have no doubt. Yes, and he even mentioned the academy, didn't he? So everybody, I watched again, not a full game, only highlights of when Liverpool played Arsenal in I think it was the semi-final of the Carabao Cup, and when Klopp had the young kids playing. And then, it was a great match. It was like 5-5, ended up, then it went to penalties. And a youngster scored the final penalty to put us through to the final. I'll have a guess who that was. Curtis Jones. And these people want him gone. I think Russia went 14 games without scoring either. Football's changed. And fans have changed. Yes, master, they have. Football has changed, yes. It's like what I've always said, about Kenny Dalglish. Kenny, and quite rightly, he's got a name. A nickname it is, Well, they've made him a king, haven't they? Just like Mo made him a king of Egypt, if you know what I mean. But Kenny, I've always said that he plays along with 9 other outfield players who are all world class. And this is why I put Steven Gerrard at the top of the tree, because when you see the likes of Kunchelski, Jay Spear, that's who he was playing around with. But when he came into the floor, we had a great side that nearly won us the league under the other fella, Rafa Benitez. When we had the likes of Mascherano, Torres, incredible. Xabi Alonso. And, we had a great defence as well. John Arisa was a great left back. Steve Finnan, one of the most underrated right backs we had. Then you had a back line of Carragher, Sami Hyypiä, great players. And I tell you who I liked, and no one seemed to have liked him, was that Riera on the left. He was great, him. Fabio Aurelio at left back, wasn't he, as well? Fabio. The goal he scored against Man U, the free kick, when we beat them 4-1. I was looking at, I forget what it was. And it was about the games coming up to the 2019 Cup final in Madrid, but it was about all the teams taking part. And that Rio Ferdinand, after us got beat, said, "Oh, the game's over now." That's what he said. And even Gary Lineker, when they scored that free kick, great free kick, don't get me wrong. And you see both Ferdinand and Gary Lineker jumping up and down in the studio. In Barcelona, that was the tears, wasn't it, that went in? Artgart might as well be all over now and whatever he was saying, blah, blah, blah. But what did we do? Made history. But you want to watch that as well. You had Glenn Hoddle. That when Sadio Mane went across the ball, in the first minute, and that fella, handled it. Glenn Hoddle. And that other fella who played for Spurs, I forget his name. He said, it hit his shoulder and went down the arm. No, it didn't. It hit his arm, ends of. He had his arm out. Penalty. Stonewall. And the poet says, you'll get your voice back just in time for the footy season. They have a robot arms and all sorts of high-powered optical aids when doing complicated operations these days. You'll be fine, mate. Thank you, poet. Really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Frank, that water facility building looks great, but never been close up to it in Everton. It's brilliant. It's absolute. I've been in there. It's like a castle. Now, that water facility, believe it or not, up in Hyde Park Street, you have a reservoir, built reservoir, been inside there as well. And that water used to come down. And what you're talking about, the thing in Everton, that was the machinery to flood the sewers. That was the big machinery in there. So they worked together and Lotus, Everton and Hyde Park Street, they were both high up above the city's level. So the water went into it. Brilliant, isn't it? And who's your have for that? None other than Dr. Duncan. And this fella named James Newland, who he appointed as the city engineer. And he rounded off the sewers, because the sewers were just a rectangle flat like that. And when he rounded off and put a slant on them, any deposits there were just washed away. Washed away. With those two things, the reservoir and the big thing up in Everton. And it does look fabulous. Both of them, what was his name? The fella who designed it was a fella named Duncan, believe it or not. Thomas Duncan designed both of them. But it was a team effort. The likes of that James Newland, Dr. Duncan himself. And the poet says, Frank, where did the name Liverpool come from? Did sand give the Mersey a reddish hue back in the day or something? Right, Liverpool was known as Leopold. It was right, Leopold. It was Latin. The fella, and this is where people, you know, they read about muddy fucking waters and things like that, which is, you know, which is feasible, but no, I'm sorry, it doesn't wash with me at all. And I studied all this for years. And it was an antiquary who was going around 1205 and 1206. He was going all around the country to get artifacts. No, it's this thing. Artifacts and other things, manuscripts around the country, which they always did. Kings always sent these librarians out. When he came to Liverpool, he looked before it became anything for King John. So anyway, King John, you know, we got down to King John and he said, listen, he said, there's a place, the realm doesn't own it, and some people call Lightpole. And he said, yeah, what about it? He said, well, Chester's always silting up. He said, and to embark and disembark troops could take weeks with the silting up. But this place, there's a Mercian language that there's a river, massive river that can embark and disembark troops within minutes. And he said, well, what's the name? He said, something like, he said, well, what's there? He said, well, there's fishermen, they've got a couple of shacks there. And, when he inquired, that they fish in a thing called the pool. Well, that was the other river coming off, you see, off the Mersey. And incidentally, the Mersey is a Mercian, old language thing, meaning boundary. So the River Mersey is Mercian for boundary. So what had happened was, he said, so, yeah, is there anything else there? He said, yeah, there's lots of lava. Tons of it all over the place, over the shoreline. He said, but you still need to claim it for the realm, simply because of troops. So we said, okay. We'll call it Leopold, Liverpool, Lava, liver, hyphenated, pole, pool. And the very first time anything had been written about Liverpool was in 1537, 1538 by another antiquary and librarian too, Henry VIII, because this fellow was going around places getting manuscripts and artifacts to bring back to Henry. He was going all over, just like King John's antiquary and librarian. So anyway, when he came to I've got it somewhere, what he had written. Liverpool, alias Leopold, a paved town. Because Liverpool, I'd say around 1299 to 1301, was paved. But that's documented. But I think it was paved long before that, because of the castle and all the stone left over And there was, you know, in winter time, obviously, there was lots of mud. And they paved outside these buildings that were already in place now after the castle was being built. So they started to build the likes of Castle Street, for example, the likes of Chapel Street, the first 7 streets of Liverpool. So they started to pave them then. So Liverpool, a paved town that Manchester men do buy there. Because Manchester, you know, the merchants of Manchester was coming down to Liverpool to buy what though? Because what it was, there was trade with Ireland and they brought over glass and linen. And that's what the Manchester fellas were doing, buying, besides us buying them as well, off these Irish traders. I'll get it sometime and put it up. I've got it there in a file, but it'd be too long trying to get it, to read it out. The first thing written by John Leland. As I said, the antiquary of King Henry VIII. So that's where the name came from, polo. Unless you think, you know, the muddy waters and all this is, that's where we got our name. How? But we got to look at Laver and Li, Laver, Liver, pool. The pool where the fishermen fished, on it with a couple of shacks on the Mersey. On the pool. No one owned the land. Nobody. So in 1207, we got the king. We got the Royal Charter of King John with his eagle, which symbolised him, and also the eagle of St. John. St. John was known as the, you know, he symbolised the eagle as well. And we've got it. And, you know, you'd have to go into detail about how it came out as a cormorant. It didn't come out as a cormorant, not the original. It was an eagle. And it was through the Civil War that, you know, after the Civil War, because when the parliamentarians took hold of the castle, someone ran up and smashed the eagle up because of the royalty, you see. Got rid of the monarchy with Oliver Cromwell. So by 1660, after Cromwell had died in 1858, 1658, they started to have a constitution to bring the monarchy back. And by 1660, they brought Charles II back, didn't they? So what they did, you know, in Liverpool, they said, we want the royal seal, the King John's royal seal. Does anyone know an engraver? There must have been a fella who went, yeah, I can engrave. I can do that. I think it was Yossi Hughes. It's a job, I can do that. And he wasn't an engraver. It came out as a cormorant. Big long legs. Eagles don't have long legs. They have very powerful talons. And that's how we got our wonderful name. And Donna says, I have an appointment with a rheumatologist on Wednesday evening to investigate my surgeon's autoimmune disease. Oh, sorry about that. Good luck with that, please, Donna. You know the score. You know the score, sweetheart. Baldy never wanted Nunes because he didn't want the team to play a pressing game, says Toscana. True, he brought his own Eredivisie game plan, which failed miserably. And Phil says, Donna, just had to Google that ID. Oh, that is, I'd not heard of it. Says Phil. Sorry I'm late, Frank. A very good evening to you and the family chat, says Barry. Oh, you missed it all, Barry, mate. It's unbelievable what we were talking about. Especially when John Aldridge just popped in and he said, do you know what I did? I said, what did you do, John? He said, I actually built the dressing rooms at Tranmere Rovers. But he told us, everyone. So you missed it. Nice fella, Aldo. And the poet said to Steve Mulholland, the water tower is some structure. I used to go to Margaret Street Bats in the shadow of it when I was a kid in the 70s. Margie Bats. Well, that filled it, believe it or not. And Phil met Sammy Upia once. Nice fella to speak to. Yeah, he is, Phil. I'm proud of Liverpool. Did you see Phil Coutinho? Oh. Singing You Never Walk Alone with the in Greece. He was on holiday in Greece with some Liverpool fans. Seen him. And they were all singing You Never Walk Alone, and he was singing along with them. That lovely. Phil Coutinho, great player. Great player. And Barry says, where's your operation, Frank? Me and my missus often watch Trauma Room based at Walton and other surgeon programmes. Fascinating whatever they get paid. It's not enough, no. It's up at the Walton Centre. He says you're going to have it here. The operation. So I said, okay. Showed me. Down there through there. What he did do, which was great in my opinion, he observed me when they called me, my name. And he seen how I was. Hobbling. And he did observe me. Great. It didn't half encourage me, Barry. Beautiful man. And Neil says, hi Frank and chat. Divock Origi retiring, loved his goal versus Blue Noses. That was one of the Neil watch 1 in a million things. It's on YouTube. I forget the full title, but it's 1 in a million. You'll be able to get it. And that was one of them. 1 in a million. It's brilliant. There's a few things, a couple of things about Everton as well, and especially that Pickford. Do you ever remember when he went down? When he got the ball and he just dived on it, saving time, wasting time in the first half. Remember that? And it came up a couple of minutes later. You see Origi scoring and someone else, and went 2-0 up. And then you see Ali doing exactly what he did. You know, he got the ball, he's got it like that, then just fell to his knees, and just like what Pickford did. It's brilliant. watch it, you laugh. But that was great. That no one will ever forget that, Neil. Well, Franco, what has happened to Antonio? I haven't seen him on your snap. I don't know. I don't know what's happened to him. He hasn't been in touch. I'm going to show you something, actually. It just reminded me. And our Francine, she's got a friend, what she does and that. And he's talking about his daughter. And I'd love to get her on. But she's a shy girl. I'm going to show you the work. And it would have been ideal for Anthony. Just bear with me on this. I just hope that you can see this. This girl is a Scouser. She's 21 years of age. And she paints like Renaissance. It's incredible. She says, would you, if we get permission, will you show her pictures? I said, yeah. Paintings. I hope you can see this. Oh, you can't see it, can you? There are two figures up there, like Mary and the Christ. And they're like people sitting at the faces. You can't see them, unfortunately. You can't see the faces because of the focus. But they're the paintings. Fabulous. She does it like in the Renaissance and Baroque. Fantastic. And I'd love to have her on. Oh, look. See that? Look. Where them faces, they're looking down. And that's hell with all the redders. It's hell. And they're the people, as I said, looking down from heaven to them. It's unbelievable the work she does. So I just hopefully, yeah, there's another one. Oh, fuck it. Yeah. It's fantastic. And that's a Japanese. The unfortunate thing is, he's actually taken his own life. The knife he's got in his hand is harikiri, the suicide thing. And that's the red obviously is the blood and that. But you see people trying to stop him. It's fantastic, Beautiful. So we'll try and, obviously get a pictures properly. Get Jason to show them on there. Have I gone over? I've gone over, haven't I? I'll just do a couple of comments. So you just want me to do football, I'll do that. I'll do one tomorrow night. And it'll be interaction. Just say what you need to say. Toscana, get Darwin back and keep Rio and Curtis. Areola gets Liverpool and his management will be the opposite to Baldies. Yes. The Swiss cheese. getting the ferry to New Brighton. Getting the ferry to New Brighton, the people who started the ferry service from Liverpool was the monks of Birkenhead. The monks, they started the first ferry service. If Jason's there, Jason, can you give me a break, please? I want to get myself a cup of tea. No. Bet he's not there. As with the Port of Liverpool building, again, Cunard, was no expense spared because of the lucrative. Further down into the Cunard building, here we have the air. Further down into the Cunard buildings, here we have the room was very basic, as you can see, but the rooms were very basic, but at least the You frightened the ass out of me. Do you know what was coming through? And I'll start talking as I'm coming down. This is the finest. Back here in the North End's entrance, we have shouldn't have said that on camera, should I? The magnificent hall houses The magnificent hall houses. Oh no, I'm getting old. That's you, it, Willie. The magnificent hall houses.
Is home to.
Yeah. The magnificent hall is home to the Willis organ, and it was the biggest. That's you.
There we go.
Alex, hang on. The magnificent hall. The magnificent hall is the home. No, I'm sorry about this. The magnificent hall is the home of the Willis. The magnificent hall is the home of the magnificent hall. Am I on camera? Right. So why the papier-mâché columns? Why the plaster of Paris nymphs?
That's his fault.
Why the papier-mâché columns? Why the plaster nymphs?
Sorry. Oh no. There you go.
Why the papier-mâché columns? Why the nymphs? And why? Why the paper? No, hang on. Why the paper? You're stuck. And this is where the prisoner would be. And this is where the prisoner Once the prisoner was called, he'd be through this gate, the gate firmly shut behind him, along this dark passage, waiting in the court for his fate. And he's not into
it, that's all.
Once the prisoner's name was called, there was no hanging about. This I couldn't open it. Oh, brilliant, that. Oh, brilliant.
Once the prisoner was called, there'd be no hanging about.
You can't get out.
Yeah, how's that?
That's fine.
Come on, Mr. Universe.
Oh, Jesus. And this is where the prisoner would be walking up.
I'm walking down.
One could say.
I like it.
See you later. Hey. One could say the judge was flushed. Why have I got this blessed in? One could say that he was
Stand by, we're rolling.
One could say that the judge was flushed with Victorian. Doesn't work, doesn't it? No.
What do you think of that? That was for Zenna's Papa actor. Zenna said, could you show them bloopers? I said, yeah. Well, that's Jason. Jason put them on. Because, you know, we're not all infallible, are we, really? No matter what you do. And there was some, honestly, you know, there was more outtakes, to be honest. There was, I was doing a thing, I had no script, no nothing at all. And I had to read something like that. Not read it, but, you know, I had to do something about that long. And I got to the I'd done about four takes. And on the fifth one, I got right down. And in my mind, I was saying the last sentence. You know, coming to the last sentence. And it was perfect. And this car went past. This was in Pembroke Place. And this car went past. Beeped like that. And shouted my name. Hey! And I had to redo it again. There was a few expletives going at that. You know, beep, beep, beep. That's what you say there, don't there? All the beeps. So, put them on. Just put them on. I don't know where I am. Sorry, boys and girls. It's gone right down, unfortunately. Sorry. I'll have to go right down. I'm going to go right down, boys and girls, to catch you up. Sorry about this. Really, I am sorry. Just going right down, right down, right down. Friggin' hell. Still going right down. I'll start with this. And it's Jason. Give me some info on the artist and I'll find them. Jay, there's nowhere. No, she's new. She's new on the scene. And she's still at university. She got a first, you know. I think she got a double first. But Francine knows her dad. And she's gonna ask her if she come on the show. You know, like sitting with Francine and using the laptop and showing her work. She's brilliant, honest to God. She's absolutely brilliant. But she's shy, apparently, Jay. She's shy. And I said, well, you know, Go on with it. Okay. And Donna says, Frig, what a painting. Hope that's okay. Yeah, of course it is. I love them, she says. Yes. And Phil says, good that. And see, brilliant bloopers, Frank. Thank you. A little Donna. Only a Scouser, Frank. Proper. Yeah. Or is that prophecy? But you see, you know, some of the most intriguing things. As I said, you know, I'm just saying this about football quickly. When you see some comments on other podcasts, you go, "Oh, come on, give us a break." And that's why I said, you know, if you want me to do one, I'll do one tomorrow night. I'll do one tomorrow night. A football one. I'll do one. Not do one, like, you know what I mean. As you said there, Bella, you know, what's happened to, I haven't seen him. And he was being ideal with this girl. He was being ideal because I know Anthony loves the Renaissance, because both of us love Leonardo da Vinci. Both of us love him. And when Anthony first got to know me, I was mentioning the likes of Da Vinci. And he was made up because that's his idol. But he hasn't been in touch, and there's nothing we can do. Anyway, Toscani, get Darwin back, keep Rio and Curtis, Ariola, get Liverpool, and as management will be the opposite of the Baldies. Yes. Oh, Barry says, you might be on the telly. I might be. Been on the telly loads of times, but. And Zora says, Frank, I live in Everton, the most historical place, and know so little. Yeah, it is. It is, Donna. It is the most historical place in Liverpool. Because where you have Everton, it goes right down to the pier head. I think our Francine sent me a message. Yeah, she sent me a message. Excuse me a minute, I'm just sending a message back to our Francine. She said she will do, you know, get it on. She'll get it on with it, which is good. Which is good. That girl, she's good, you know, honestly. Oh, come on, give me a break. Look at how Francine, I'm doing a show. Stop sending me messages. Donna says, Frank, Great Mersey Street and Boundary Street. Boundary Street was the boundary of the city centre that led out. It was Boundary Street was. Do you ever remember Mile End in Scotland Road? Well, that was a mile between Mile End and the town hall, exactly a mile. And when it goes up further up, you come to Boundary Street, and that was the boundary between Walton and the likes of Anfield. That was the boundary between the city centre and those places I just mentioned. There's a lot of history, you know, and I know I'm trying to say it in little sentences, which, you know, is unfortunate. But what I will do one night, I might do it one afternoon, actually. Get Jason to there, do something. And what I'll do a history show just about Liverpool. You know, from the origins right up to the impact of 2 World Wars and a few VCs thrown in. I'll mention them. Mention the impact the Civil War had on Liverpool as well, which was fascinating. The English Civil War. And so, Scott, I'm sure the hospital staff will look after you. I couldn't fault them when I was in. You'll be running around Liverpool in no time. I wish. Yeah, it's when I went in for that triple repair, he looked after me. Which lovely people. I love our NHS, but unfortunately, by the time our grandkids grow up, there'll be no NHS. You'll have to be insured. This is what the Americans want, you see. They want all our resources, including the NHS. Just like they want the resources of every other country. That's America for you. And Mr. B, good evening, Frank and chat. I hope your appointment went well. Yeah, I'm having it up. I'm not going to go through it again, Mr. B, because I did go through it, to be honest. But I'm having an operation come August on my spinal cord. It's a dangerous one. Very dangerous, actually. So I've got nothing to lose. I really haven't. So I'm going to go for it. And so I don't know what's happened to Carragher and the comments he's making. They are either lies or he's lost the plot. They're not lies. I think he's just lost the plot. And Mr. B, yeah, we've been speaking about him, Mr. B. And according to everyone on here, all the Liverpool fans, they want him. They want him. Yeah, this tennis. Need to put out some fires for work. We'll scroll through the chat to see what I missed. You missed the bloopers. You missed the bloopers. What you wanted, so they're on. And Mr. B, good evening, Frank and chat. I hope your appointment well. Yes, thank you. As I mentioned there, Mr. B. Yeah, look. Phil, tennis, you just missed the bloopers. Go back about 5 minutes. As he says, love the bloopers, comedy gold, says Tennis. He asked for them. He asked for them. And Barry says, what I meant, Frank, is Channel 5 asked if it's okay to film and interview you. Really good, it is. I've been on Channel 5 doing something for Dickens. I've been doing something about Dickens because I'm a specialist on Dickens. And when I mentioned Dickens and about Oliver Twist, and they said, no, we'll do that on a separate one. We'll give it a full programme. I said, okay. But when it went like this, all of a sudden, just like that, went really bad, couldn't do it. And my tooth, can't go on the telly like that, can you? Looks soft. And then it's all about the Heels at So Express with our Frank. I'll put some slides off for Evan if you want them in. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Jay. Oh, Mr. B. Well, good luck, Frank. Thank you, Mr. B. You're tough as old boots. I'm sure you'll come through. Thank you, mate. Thank you so much. Big guy. And little Donna, lovely little Donna says, I've had an emotional day. Found out that my great-grandfather was first over in the Battle of the Somme. And he's remembered in SFX Church, Liverpool. See, there was 3 battles of the Somme. And the first battle, on July the 1st, 1916, we had the Liverpool Pals, and we were wiped out. There was a few stragglers left. The Liverpool Pals. I'll do a little history show for you, which include, as I mentioned, and I'll do that. As I said, the impact of the First World War on Liverpool was harsh, but so great achievements, especially Victoria Crosses. So I'll do that. I'm talking about Europe, Frank, says Barry. Oh, thank you, Barry. Thank you. And Dennis says, John Maxwell was kind enough to give me an autographed copy of his latest book, The American of the Abercrombie Square. Great historical fiction. Early chapters just through the Lincoln assassination. Well, as you know, Dennis, that was the Confederate consulate, 19 Abercrombie. And that'll be good if it's fictionalized as well. To be honest, you know, a story emanating from there. But J.K. Prolu, he was the first consul there for the Confederacy. And he married a Liverpool girl. I don't know whether you've been in there, 19 Abercrombie, but I can get in. And if I'm all right, and I know that you're coming next year, if I'm all right, then, you know, God's willing, I'll bring you up there and I'll show you something that will blow your mind in there. It just blow your mind. And Donna says the Liverpool pals in the Somme, yeah, they were wiped out on the first battle, unfortunately. They were wiped out. First battle of the Somme. That is our Newcastle mate. Well, ye Frank, Davy's dad joke of the day. Did you hear about the flood? Hang on. Did you hear about the flood? Saint Lemonade Factory. 3 members of the staff were swept away. Is that it? Swept away. We had a lemonade factory down here in Great Ormond, a place called Great Ormond Street. And we had a lake. It's still there. I don't mean Schweppes. Schofields it was called. And that's how they made the lemonade. With the lake. The water. And they used to go around everywhere. You know, people in Liverpool remember it. You know, the lemonade man. Selling the lemonade. It was dead cheap. Brilliant. Everyone had lemonade for their Sunday dinner. Including us. And Dennis says, that would be great, Frank. Can't wait. Thanks. No problem. After me up. In August. Phil's laughing his little head off. Schofields, yeah, Wimpole Street, yeah. That's right. Off Gracie. Surprising, isn't it? Surprising. Well, you know, Liverpool gave, and to us, like. And don't forget, you know, that some of the firsts are absolutely incredible. The first that Liverpool gave. You know, when you think about, they say that in 1667, the Industrial Revolution started. Started here. And it started in 1570. No, it didn't. It started in 1715. Did I say 15? Because we opened the very first wet dock. That was the industrialisation to start off. But Liverpool, unfortunately, don't get a name. I was watching, as I said today, I was watching something about Liverpool. I'm not talking about the city, I'm talking about the football club. And you know, and I'm going back 7 years ago, they put this first up. And it was about like getting to the Champions League, I think, final in Madrid. And as it was going, one comment. And it said, the benefit scroungers versus the moped lads. The benefit scroungers. This is how Liverpool is portrayed by some people. Benefit scroungers. Bin dippers. We all live in slums. Really annoys me, though. The Alpine Lemonade fella, exactly, poet. Alpine. Fantastic, honestly. The Alpine fella, you're right. You're right, poet. And Donna says, Frank, is the underground. What's that? Lake still under great. Yeah, it's still there. You can't get rid of lakes. I'll tell you where there's another one. Believe it or not, it's under the cavern. You know, the cavern in Matthew Street. Big lake there. And another lake is on where Kane's Brewery is. And that's how they make the beer. Kane's Brewery. With the water there. We have lakes. We have everything. Like Lake Garda and Como and Maggiore. And Donna says, you've done Liverpool unequalled, unseen. How about underground Liverpool? I've been on loads of places underground, sweetheart. Done them. Yeah, I wanted to do one this summer. I wanted to leave it as a legacy. And I've been let down. Let down by some fella, some drone fella. And believe it or not, the fella got hold of me. He said, I'll do it for you. I said, will you? He said, yeah. I'll do the drone. And I forgot who it is. I really need to do it before I go into hospital. I really do. Because what I'll do is be great for Scousers. I'm just putting it on YouTube, you know, so I don't want anything for it. Just want to put it on YouTube. The proper history of Liverpool, but with lots of architecture. And you'll see what I mean. And Davey says, was watching a documentary on the River Tyne, says our Newcastle friend. Apparently, 1 in 4 warships in the world in the Wales around 1940 were built on Tyneside. Yeah, and over on here as well. You're so right there, Davey. You're so right, but not being funny, and I'll tell you for why. Lots were built up in Tyneside is because Liverpool was targeted by the Luftwaffe, because this is where all the Americans were coming in into the Mersey. And also, you know, the ships, this was where the big mobilization was for the army, even the Air Force, and also sailors, obviously. So they had to go somewhere. And that's why there was a lot of shipbuilding on the Tyneside, Newcastle. And I bet you're a big fan of Alfred the Same Pet. Brilliant series. Brilliant. Oh, fuck, every time it goes. And so that's some talent the young lady has. Yes, thank you. Our Francine just said that they like it. I said, yeah, they loved it. I want her on. I want her on the show. She won't be sitting with me. She'll be sitting with our Francine and in her place, showing her works. I hope so anyway. Francine's going to get hold of her dad to see, because she's a very shy person. That's what Francine said. You know. I said, yeah, I told the group on here that she's shy. And the poet. There used to be a lake at the bottom of Mere Lane in Anfield as well. People used to skate on it when it froze over in Victoria. You're spot on there. you're spot on. Because, you know, Everton, sorry, why did I mention Everton? Because Anfield, believe it or not, is swampy ground. Swampy. And Mia Lane, as you know, was right through to Anfield. So you like there, poet lad? Get in there. Like that. Aye, the time was bombed, but not much, not that much. Liverpool, Davy, was the most bombed city outside London. That's why, mate. And that's why they went up to the time. So you're spot on there. The club should commission that girl to do a moral for Kevin Keegan. Wow. Wow, that's a cracker, that. I'll let our Francine know what someone said. I'll let them know, poet. That's brilliant, that, mate. And even the Donna putting a thumbs up. And Davey, love how Frida saying, do you know what, though? They had a fella in there, what's his name? I've seen him I actually seen him in a Shakespeare play. Oh, what's his name? But he hasn't playing a Scouser. And he's from Manchester, the lad. And I thought, why? And his accent was terrible. Trying to take off a Scouser. Why didn't he just have a Scouser? It was like a family at war series. There was a lot younger, used to watch it. And they spoke like that, you know. Here, what you doing? Fucking hell, why didn't they just have Liverpool? They're all Liverpool actors and actresses. Oz is a legend. Yeah, he just went, didn't he? He just went. Just went. And Dennis says, Davy, my gran was a rosy riveter at the Willow run bombed plant just outside of Detroit during the war. And Grandad's worked at one of the car plants that switched over to tank production. Wow. That's him, yeah, Moxie. But he was from Manchester, he wasn't a Scouser. We know our Scousers. Davy. He was a Manc. And Davy says to Dennis, it's great to know family history. It is. Can I show something here? Just let me, hang on. No. Hang on a minute. This is for little Donna. I think so anyway. Just bear with me on this. There you are, Donna. That's Everton there for you. And there's the windmills. It's actually looking down towards Lime Street. The windmills of Lime Street. How about that? And there you have my bushels and the lockup, which is there as well. Fucking hell. Sorry, mate. And there's the Everton Church, because Everton was a very well-known place. There was all the rich lived there, all the oligarchs, as we call them today. They all lived in Everton. They had villas, they had mansions and everything. They're going back in time. You're going back to the early part of the 19th century. Beautiful place. And there used to be, hang on. What you had as well was Wordsworth and Samuel Taylor Coleridge coming down to Liverpool, to Everton, to stay and go on little walks, what they call sojourns. I can't remember the fella's name. I always forget this fella's name. An author, the author of The Confessions of an English Opium Eater. Oh, forget his name. Sorry. And they used to visit him because he lived in Everton. Look at that. The village cross. You see, and the likes of, there's a woman named Molly Bushell, and a doctor used to come to her, a doctor, and he used to give her this medicine, some sort of medicine, but it was like a treacle sort of thing. And she made Everton mints out of them. And Charles Dickens used to go up for Everton mints. But he had them as a medication as well. The Everton mints. Charles Dickens. Molly Bushell. That's a cracking picture, that though. And look at that, beautiful. And that's from Boundary Street. You mentioned that before, John, and that's Boundary Street, and it's looking over towards Everton. Right in the middle there, where you might just see a coach. That's Scotland Road. The road that led to Scotland. And that's St. George's Church. That building, St. George's Church, was the very first iron infrastructure built anywhere in the world. And down at Egbert, you had the second St. Michael's Church. That was built in 1814. 2 years later, St. Michael's in the hamlet was built. St. Michael's in the hamlet, and that was the second iron infrastructure in the world. And I was telling Dennis Paparak, because he stayed with a mate down there, and he said he could see that church. And Phil says, Frank, have you been tempted? Have you been tempted to do your ancestry work? DNA? I've got a family tree, but no, I haven't, to be honest. I might do it actually before anything. I might do that. I've got a family tree that goes back to Italy and right through then to here, Liverpool. But that's a good shout, that, Phil. Phil's coming down to see me, which has been nice. And Dennis says, Poet and the Incurables. That's his band. And Poet said, I thought the Incurables were from Florida, mate. I would have definitely included them in that hollowed company. And Davey says, Brenza Blethyn, brilliant actress. Does a canny Georgie accent in Vera, but most actors can't do it justice. Just sound thick. Yeah, absolutely. That's a good shout, that, Davey. You know, could you imagine me doing a Geordie accent? No chance. Dennis just sent me a thing. That's brilliant. You know, when I mentioned about Dennis saying about, you know, I said that he stays with his mate there. And he could see St. Michael's. He's just sent me a picture, and there it is. St. Michael's. Isn't that brilliant? St. Michael's Church. St. Michael's in the hamlet. Second building in the Wales. 1816 that was built. 1816. Thanks, Dennis. Thank you. And Poet says, wow, is that true about Dickens and Everton Mint? Yeah, absolutely. True that, Poet. Used to go along. There's something for you. You might have missed me doing this. I love literature, you see. I used to teach it. And what he used to do, he used to go along to Molly Bushell's. Excuse me. My nose are itchy. It hasn't been itchy all night, and it's been great. But anyway, don't forget that. And he used to go along Molly's, get a sweets, and he used to sit like on a sort of a park bench. Wasn't a bench going back then, you know. But anyway, he used to sit and he used to look down at Liverpool from Everton. Because as you know, Everton is high up, looking down into the city. And what he used to see the people going to work in and out of the houses. In and out of the houses. Now, if you haven't got this book, Google it. And it's Hard Times by Charles Dickens. And get onto the 5th chapter. Just Google the 5th chapter, keynote. And he's describing Liverpool on the very first page. That's what he's saying. And he put it in Coketown, you know, the fictional town he was writing about. But he's describing Liverpool. It's absolutely brilliant. The descriptive writing is absolutely amazing. Charles Dickens is one of the greatest descriptive writers ever. I tell you who else, he only done one book. And the descriptive writing was absolutely amazing. Amazing. And believe it or not, he's one of my favourites anyway, this fella. And it was Oscar Wilde. a picture of Dorian Gray, the only novel he ever written. And there's a script of writing in that is absolutely first class. But the greatest descriptive writer ever is Charles Dickens. I'll tell you another thing as well about a poet, Charles Dickens. All his novels, everything he wrote was based on real life characters. That's why Channel 5 said, I want you to do that particular thing about Oliver Twist. I said, okay, no problem. But unfortunately, I was a bit worse than what I am now. Because as I said, I've been on Channel 5 with this lady, just a tiny little thing. I don't watch telly. And I said, anyway, I went down to film. She said, don't you know me? I'm the presenter. And I went, oh, are you? Okay then. We got on all right though, I think. And little Donna says, oh, Frank, I live now on the grounds in front of the church. And I was looking out when you showed the pictures. I'm mind blown. Oh, my mind's blown. Oh. I'll show them again next week for you. When I do the history again. Okay. And Dennis to the poet. I left Detroit in 1984 for a 6-year Navy hitch. Family left for Nashville in 1987. Mum's job lived in Nashville 1991. For Mum's job. Lived in Nashville 1991 to 2018. Then moved to Tampa after 2 exes and a grown son. Yeah, you leave the exes behind, don't you? And Stephen Maxwell. Oh, yeah. Good evening, Frank. Hope all went well at the hospital today. No, it was on Saturday. What it was, Stephen, I've got to have an operation. Well, I haven't got to have. I've been waiting for 4 years for the op. And it's just like Liverpool waiting for it. I've been saying this is the 4th year, waiting for the DM to come in at number 6. Anyway, I'm going on to the knife in August. It's a very dangerous operation, might I add. But I'm going under it nevertheless because the way I am, I might as well. And hope that, I can get a bit of quality of life back. But it's a dangerous job. But nevertheless, I'm going to do it. Stephen, thank you for asking. And the poet says, Detroit, Nashville, some music heritage there then. Yes. But it's not like Liverpool, is it, Dennis? Because Dennis is a big Beatle fan and a big Cavern fan because he appears there every year. And Dennis to the poet was probably the only musician in Nashville not to do music. The competition there is brutal and not a bit of country music. And do you know what? I like all types of music. And when I was talking to somebody, I mentioned Puccini and Bizet. And they looked at me, and Verdi. And he looked. He says, who are they? And I had to explain. who they were. And he said, you don't like that, do you? And I went, yeah, I love me opera. I love me classical music as well. And this is why I've always wanted to go to Lucca, where Puccini came from. Just want to see his home. I went to Florence to see where Da Vinci lived and where Michelangelo lived. That's me. That's me. I went to a church called Santa Croce in Florence, and he was buried in only a small church, one of the smallest churches I've seen in Italy. And he was buried there from the likes of Machiavelli and Dante, Michelangelo, Da Vinci. They're buried there. And when I went in, he must have thought that I was mad, this fucking mad fella here. Because I was touching the tombs. I couldn't believe it. These are my heroes. To me, they're some of the greatest people on the planet. Through historical things, but also through what their professions were. Dante's Inferno. Oh, whoa. And the poet says, read Hard Times the other week, Mr. Bounderby, Stephen Blackpool. I'm glad you read that, because if you look at his name, Mr. Bounderby, it means he was a bounder and he stung like a bee to his workers. And when you look at Stephen Blackpool, how did he die? He drowned, didn't he? In a stagnant pool, hence Blackpool. When he was ostracised. Did you like that, poet? That's what I used to teach. In every book, every literature. And poet says, modern country is not too clever. No, but the old stuff is great. Yes. And the poet, Patsy Cline, Loretta Lynn, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, etc. Loved all that stuff. You painted up your lips and rolled and curled your tinted hair. And that was about a fella who came home from Vietnam, and she was going out because he was in a wheelchair. That Kenny Rogers song, Don't Take Your Love to Town. And one of the great lines was, I'm not going to sing it. It wasn't me who started this old crazy Asian war. Oh, just as a text. Oh, got to do the hospital. Got to do an online procedure before, you know, they start the op and that. So I've got to do that. Just add that through. And then it says, Frank traded the X's for alligators. I don't blame you. Oh, little Donna, so loved tonight. Oh, thank you, Donna. You're a good girl. Good lady. You're not a girl. You're a lady. I'm thrilled to the tennis. Glenn Campbell at the Liverpool Philharmonic Hall. Brilliant guitarist and singer. Yeah, he appears at the Phil, didn't he? And on it, I've got a front row tickets for the Liverpool Philharmonic to see orchestral manoeuvres in the dark with the Royal Liverpool Orchestra. They weren't my cup of tea, to be honest. Orchestral manoeuvres, OMD. Live music is great, says Phil. Yeah, it is. I seen the greatest band ever live, and that was the Beatles. Me, the Beatles. And tennis to the to Glenn to Phil. Glenn was yes, Glenn was. He was also a member of the legendary group, the Sessions Player, known as the Wrecking Crew. And Paul says, didn't get onto the significance of the character names, Frank. Fascinating that. Liverpool gets a few mentions in the end when the lads who robbed the bank to the run. The lads to the robbed the bank and the lads. Liverpool gets mentioned. Yeah, you've got to look at names. Great Expectations, incredible. All his novels. I loved all his novels. Oliver Twist. Because when you look at Oliver Twist, because there's a twist at the end of the story. Brilliant. I like that as well, Che. I love the Wichita Lime. I like that. That was Glenn Campbell though, wasn't it? And Barry says, Frank, made a note, one of many, from your book about Liverpool having the first blind school and the first chess club I used to be on the school team. Yeah. The blind school, Edwin Rushton, he felt so sorry for people who went blind, especially soldiers and sailors. Sailors used to get bitten by tsetse flies, and there used to be like little worms that used to go into the ankle, like around the Achilles, and they used to go blind. So he learned them how to basket weave because they had no money. Edwin Rushton, 1799, and we knocked it down. The very first blind school in the entire world, and we knocked it down. Mr. Story tried to stop it, couldn't. And that was in Commentation Row. And what did they build there? Flats. Do you remember the Beatles playing in Port Sunlight in 1962, says Stephen Maxwell? No, where I seen them, Stephen, was my mate. He said, come on, we're going to Buncroft Scale and we're going to see the Beatles. I said, okay. And I thought there was an exhibition. Well, it wasn't. It's sort of an exhibition down at the museum. And they were showing all different types of beetles. The insects. I thought I was going to see them. And I said, well, who are they? when we were going in a different direction. I said, what's that? And it was a band. It was a band. And all these girls screaming. And it was on the Locarno. Everton Road. You know, the end of Everton Road. That's where I went. Incredible. I tell you what as well, I forget who said it, was at Barry doing the first. I don't know whether I mentioned it on the DVDs or in the book or anything, but we had the very first public cemetery in the world in 1824 because churches were being full up. He said, we can't bury anymore. So they got some ground and they consecrated it. And they called it the necropolis, which is Greek for the city of the dead. So they named it the necropolis. And where that is in Grant Gardens, by the Locarno. Everton Road, the end of Everton Road. Grant Gardens. That was the very first public cemetery there. So what they said, they said, we'll have to build another one as well, too smaller. But they couldn't name it the necropolis because of, by the time, so they started naming cemeteries, like in America, Arlington, for example. But there's other cemeteries named, different. You can't call every cemetery Arlington. You can't name every cemetery in Liverpool the necropolis, can you? Because where is he getting better? Necropolis, where? What one? Little Donna says, oh my God, OMD are working with NASA to make a music out of Cassini circling Saturn. Really? Didn't know that. Didn't know that, Tommy. And Phil says, St. Vincent is near my house. Shows you, doesn't it? We all live by churches, don't we? Phil, I'll have to send you the BGT. I can't get onto that. I don't know what it is. I can't get onto, text you, through the phone. I have to go on that WhatsApp thing. But I'll try and do it. I'll, send you me details to come down and see me. And the T says, I've just heard Real Madrid are interested in buying Macca. I hope not. They're all going. That user is. They're all going. The poet. Other towns and cities have leaders. We have a cultural brilliant. I've always said that. Criminal vandalism. That's what I call them. Vandals, not vandal, criminal vandals. And said, I have to go. Take care of yourself, Frank, chat. Always enjoy your stream. Thank you. So we get tomorrow night, I'm doing a football one, said. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. I'll be finishing now anyway. Myself and Dennis. Oh, did I miss a little thingy then? Yeah. The metropolis, Frank, is right. Is it right? They removed the headstones, but the graves are still there. Yes. Yes, you've only got to... St. John's Gardens is like 2,000 French prisoners of war still buried there. From the Napoleonic Wars, that is. Don't mean recent ones, like. And Jenna says, Frank still have Mum's Beatles go away. USA Limited. program for the 64 tour of the US. Go away. She saw them in Detroit. Go away, did she? I later got his autograph by good old Frieda. Oh, go away. When she was in, go away. That's great, that. When she was in Nashville. You're lucky. That's worth a fortune, that. That's worth a fortune. I've got it. Well, a former colleague, friend, I haven't seen him in years. You want to see his memorabilia of the Beatles and other music things. We're thousands. He went down to see Ringo Starr, and I've got to swear here, by the way. He went down to see Ringo Starr and the All Stars at the Empire Theatre a few years ago, I'm talking about years ago. And he went down with an album. And he was waiting for ages. And he was with like, he was just talking to this fella. And this fella was at school with Ringo, Richard Starkey. And he said, I just come down, I'm going to say hello to him. He won't be surprised. And so anyway, when they came out, Mike went like that. Ringo, can you have your autograph? He went, fuck off. And his mate, like he was sat next to in school, he went, what do you fucking want my autograph for, soft lads? And just jumped in again and fucked up. I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to swear because I haven't swore. I don't like swearing anymore. And Stephen says, I want McAllister gone, Frank. The thing is, we'll talk about that tomorrow night because I'm not saying like keep him or let him go or anything like that. He's got something to do with splinters in his shins. But anyway, it's just dismantled everything. It's dismantled a team that won the league the season before last. That was then dismantled. As soon as that was won, they dismantled it. And that's why we were so poor last season with a very poor manager. Well, a coach, the Dutch cheese fella. That's why it fell apart and he left us in a mess. And someone said to me, he sent a Gael letter. And I was like, he's not half nice. Fuck off. Look, he left us in a mess and he want us to feel sorry for him. But it's 7 million quid payout. Nah, sorry. And Barry says to the T, I don't mind Macca going, mate. I reckon it's going to be end of Klopp. Exactly that. That was all that it was for. Get rid of the Klopp legacy. And they thought he'd make the Dutch cheese fella into a legend. And we will be unrecognisable next season in order to find upgrades on players who have left. Yes. Mr. B. Good night, Frank and chat. Be lucky. Cheers, Mr. B. Hopefully see you tomorrow. I'm going to finish and CW to Barry. I don't recognise them. Yep. Exactly. And Dennis, Richie Rutledge, crying, brilliant, Sam. Was a roast. And former neighbour of mine, and that's go away. I'll get on my knees. But brilliant, that. Please stay. One of the most emotive songs I've heard with him, Richie Rutledge, singing it. Please stay, don't go. Absolutely brilliant. I suppose I'm singing to myself. My old neighbour Brian is Paul McCartney's personal bodyguard. Says, Mister, go away. That's what he done to me. Keep away from Paul. Said, I want to see him. And he went smack. And me two come out. No, it didn't. And Donna says, I hope you're all feeling good. And thank you, Frank and chat family, for another evening. No, thank you for joining us, Tommy. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. And she says, Barry, I don't recognise our team anymore. Way too many new players last summer and talk of a load more in common, no identity anymore. Let's see if this Areola gives us it. And Dennis says, nice all. See you online tomorrow. Thank you, Dennis. I'm going to finish, you know. And the poet, didn't the Crying Shame sing that, please? That's it. Yeah. Cracking tune, that's it. Yeah. Please stay. Don't go. Very emotive song, and it was brilliantly sung. I'll tell you, you know, you get great songs by... Do you know, Benny King sang Stand By Me. And when I heard a cover version of it, I went, that'll do me, that. And it was John Lennon's Stand By Me. Listen to him singing it. And it's just like, Please Stay. Very emotive. As though you're singing to believe it. Wanting to stay and stand by me. You're right, TW, it's called progress. God knows what it'll be called that. But we talk about all that tomorrow night. I thought you liked the bald eagle. Where's our moderator? Get rid of this fella. Thought you liked the bald eagle. No, I know you're messing. Oh, Phil says, thanks, Frank and chat, for a good show, Frank. We'll look out for your message. I'll do it after this. I'll make myself a cup of tea. Because I was making sure that Dennis Paparak, because he said, can you put your bloopers on? I liked them. And I went, yeah. I said, I'll wait till you get home. And he's home now, you know, from here, from the cabin in Liverpool. And my place, so put us on for him tonight, and I'm glad. Richie was the guitarist, says Dennis. Was their guitarist at the ripe old age of 17. And when you think how the Beatles got together when they were 14 and 15. Can't make it up, can you? But I hope this guy gets it right. If he does, we will forget very quickly if we play with Klopp style and win games. We will. We will. And the poet. Night, Frank. Night, chat. See you, poet. Thank you. Tito. Night, Frank and chat. Sleep well. Yes, I will tonight. Christopher. Christopher, how are you, mate? Hi, Frank and everyone up the History Reds. And the vlogs, MI6. Funny you mentioned detecting around Chester, Frank. I just got a good permission, almost close to the centre. Oh, you've got to go there? Near the castle? Oh, yes. I think it's as well ready in September. Can't wait. Brilliant. I'm telling you now. I used to bring my students over there when I was lecturing about the Romans. God, blimey, my legs gone dead. Oh. And we used to go under the shops into the thing and see all the Roman heating process. Incredible. That's why I said go there. Well done, MI6. Good night, Frank. Yeah, see, kisses for me. Thank you, Johnny. Good night, sweetheart. And Toscana. I'm still having nightmares over Dante's Inferno. Tuesday made me study with my Italian level. Go away. It's brilliant, isn't it? That's what I mean. Dante's Inferno. You want to see what Jason got me for my birthday? I haven't put it down. And it's beautiful. I'll show you it tomorrow night. I know it's football, but I'll just show you what he got me. William Blake. The Book of Tell. Couldn't believe it. Night, Frank, and everyone. See you tomorrow, says Barry. Thank you, Barry. Mr. B. Players no longer had the fear factor, hence the massive drop Klopp. The massive drop Klopp or Shanks would never have allowed. That poor form, regardless of, yes, Diogo, yes, hashtag 20. Good shout, that, mate. Good shout. I'm going to get Alexa to play Please Stay. Says, oh, listen to it. If you haven't heard it, say, listen to it, mate. It's fantastic. Please stay. Don't go. It's really reminds me of something as well. And Stephen. Good night, everybody. What time are you on tomorrow evening, Frank? 7 p.m., Stephen. 7 p.m, mate. See you then, hopefully. And Ali. Good night, everybody. I go to sleep almost midnight here. See you next time, guys. Take care. Thank you, Ali. Tomorrow night's the football show because Ali's a massive red as well. Our Romanian friend. And on that wonderful note, I'm going to say thank you for keeping me company tonight. I hope you enjoyed the show. And this thing here that you see, that's the microphone. Hello. I love Get Back, the Beatles. So do I. To once belong. Get Back, Joe. Great on the roof, that though, isn't it, as well, Mr. B? And I will be here, Franco. And guys, says Ali, good night. Good night, Ali. And Mr. B leaves the little gifts. So what I'll do, I'll just say I'll see you, hopefully see some of you tomorrow for the football show. And I'll have to work out what I'm doing as well during the week. Forgot what I'm doing. But anyway, I'll see you, some of you tomorrow. Thank you so much for keeping me company tonight. And to our beautiful lady, Italian ladies, that is. Buonanotte. Buonanotte. Ci vediamo. A domani. Sera. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Bye now.